Hi guys, welcome back to my documentation of rebuilding the Haiboxing 18859 rccar. In the last video we changed the shocks of this Haiboxing vehicle to have a much better handling. Now in this video we want to have a look on the motor. I will try a brushless conversion to have a little bit more power and of course more speed. And so let's see what the stock vehicle can do. Haiboxing advertises a maximum speed of 36 km per hour. So let's see how it performs. The speed that shows that we are 10 km per hour slower than the advertised speed of the vehicle. And I think this little car could be a little bit faster. That's the reason why I bought the brushless motor of the 18859A version of this car and of course the matching electronics, which I will show you in a minute. The brushless motor is a 24-35 motor, which means a diameter of 24 mm and a length of 35 mm. Here you can see the stock brush motor that comes with an attached heatsink, and the red box is the matching ESC for this motor. For a brushless conversion you will need both, the new brushless motor of course and the matching ESC. Now let's start to disassemble the car. To be able to remove the motor, a lot of screws in the rear of the vehicle have to be removed. And please be sure to remember the correct position of each screw. Finally, the cover can be removed. In the next step you can pull out the motor and the ESC. Here you can see the old and the new brushless ESC. The old one is the red and the new one is the black box. As the name already says, the speed controller regulates the speed of your motor according to the input signal that comes from your remote. I bought the brushless receiver together with the matching remote control as a used part. The electronics come from a 2996A Haiboxing car, which is a lot bigger and of course heavier. The ESC comes with a different remote control. You can use the old one as well, but the new one has a lot more possibilities for fine-tuning and adjustments. You may be wondering why I didn't just take the ESC from the 1/18 scale brushless car. The answer is simple. With this 35 amp ESC I have the option of installing an even larger motor in the future. Maybe a few more details about the ESCs. Haiboxing has probably combined the ESC and the receiver in one housing for cost reasons. In many other RC cars the receiver is a separate unit. The main difference between a brushed and a brushless ESC is the connection to the motor. The brushless ESC has 3 and the brushed ESC has 2 wires to connect the motor. You can also see the connectors for the servo, both are designed with 3 pins, so I can continue to use my existing servo. Then there is the BEC, the battery eliminator circuit. This is an output with a constant voltage for additional components, such as the car's headlights in our case. The new ESC has 2 outputs because the Haiboxing 2996A car has lighting and a fan for cooling the ESC. The BEC of both ESCs deliver 5 volts. Now let's do a first test. I connect the motor and the battery to the ESC for testing. Please be sure that you always switch on the remote at first and then the ESC for a proper operation. If we now connect the servo at the end, the steering should also respond. Let's have a closer look on the motor again. The new brushless motor is noticeably smaller. It's a 24-35, that means 24 mm diameter and a length of 35 mm. And the kV rating should be 3300. Despite the higher RPM that the brushless motor will deliver, I will keep the transmission ratio as it is. The only thing I do is to replace the spur gear with the metal version. Just take over front and rear ball bearing from the old gear. A metal front and rear differential and metal bevel gears will come later. Now we put everything back together. Take care that the spur gear and the pinion gear are aligned with each other, and check that everything turns easily and freely. The new ESC is slightly larger and does not fit into the socket, so I tried this upright position where the steering links can move freely. My first attempt was to attach the ESC with double-sided tape, but after a few runs it came loose and it ended with this solution. I fastened the ESC with some cable ties on the chassis brace. This is not perfect for the center of gravity, but it holds reliably. You may not be able to see it in the video, but the wheels are spinning backwards if I push the forward button on the remote. If this happens, there are two ways to fix this. Either you just swap two of the motor wires, or you change it with the reverse throttle button on the remote. If you fix it by swapping the motor wires and notice that the car moves backwards faster than forwards, then definitely use the button on the remote.